Analog watches function independently of electrical systems, using mechanical gears and springs. This mechanical reliability contrasts with modern digital instruments that require power sources.
In aviation emergencies, complete electrical failure can render all electronic navigation systems inoperable.
The watch's hands, aligned with the sun's position, provide a basic but crucial directional reference.
This method relies on understanding that the sun moves approximately 15 degrees per hour across the sky.
Such techniques are taught in wilderness survival training for situations without modern technology. The pilot's decision-making process involved calculating remaining fuel against estimated distance to civilization. This scenario demonstrates how simple mechanical devices can become critical when complex systems fail. The pilot faced a critical situation as the aircraft's systems failed one by one. GPS and electronic navigation systems became completely inoperative, leaving only basic instruments. Fuel levels dropped rapidly, with no clear destination in sight. This occurred in a region known for extreme weather and challenging terrain. Search and rescue operations in such areas are notoriously difficult due to the remote location. The pilot had to rely on traditional navigational methods without modern technology. This type of survival scenario is rare, requiring both crash endurance and successful navigation. The combination of system failures created a perfect storm of navigational challenges. The pilot's training was immediately put to the test when the instrument failure occurred. Despite the critical failure, the pilot reportedly maintained control of the aircraft throughout the emergency. This initial response demonstrates standard emergency procedure execution under pressure. The pilot then attempted to establish radio communication using standard distress protocols. These distress calls followed established aviation emergency communication procedures. No confirmation was received in response to these radio transmissions. This lack of response created a critical communication gap during the emergency situation. The sequence represents a textbook example of initial emergency response followed by communication failure. Facing a critical situation, the pilot shifted focus from complex system restoration to fundamental survival navigation. This decision reflects standard emergency protocols, where basic orientation takes precedence over technical repairs. He utilized his analog wristwatch as an improvised compass, a technique known in survival training.
By pointing the hour hand at the sun, he could establish a rough north-south line for navigation.
This method works by bisecting the angle between the hour hand and the 12 o'clock position on the watch face.
Celestial navigation techniques like this have been used for centuries when conventional tools are unavailable.
The technique provides approximate rather than precise directional information, but can be crucial in emergencies.
This approach demonstrates how basic knowledge of traditional navigation methods can become vital in modern survival situations.
The ancient technique referenced is likely celestial navigation, using the sun or stars to determine direction when landmarks are absent. This method provides a rough bearing, not a precise course. But in survival situations, any directional reference is critical. With this bearing, the pilot could triangulate a general direction from his last known position. The decision involves calculating remaining fuel against the distance to potential rescue zones. Diverting from the planned course was a significant risk, trading a known, failing path for an uncertain one. This gamble is a common pattern in survival scenarios, where inaction guarantees failure, but action offers a slim chance. The hope was to reach the nearest area with potential for rescue or human habitation before fuel exhaustion. Such calculated risks, balancing known resources against unknown outcomes, define many real-world disappearances and survival events. With fuel exhausted, the pilot initiated a forced landing procedure in mountainous terrain. The aircraft impacted the ground but remained largely intact, allowing the pilot to survive the crash. Forced landings in remote areas require precise control to minimize structural failure and injury. After assessing the situation, the pilot began trekking on foot through the harsh environment. He maintained his bearing using the same watch navigation technique, keeping a consistent direction despite obstacles. This analog method involves aligning the watch with the sun to determine cardinal directions without a compass. The trek continued until he reached a location with sufficient visibility or accessibility for signaling. There, he deployed signaling methods, potentially using mirrors, fires, or radio if available, to attract attention. The exact sequence of mechanical failure in this incident is often reconstructed from the pilot's own account, which introduces inherent limitation. This reliance on a single perspective means critical details about the failure's progression remain uncertain. Another common misconception involves the Wristwatch Sundial method used for navigation. This technique provides only a general direction, not a precise geographic location. Its accuracy depends on a clearly visible sun and can be off by many degrees, making it unreliable for pinpointing a position. Such methods, while historically used in survival situations, lack the precision of modern GPS or even traditional sextant navigation. Understanding these limits is crucial for separating established facts from speculative reconstruction in the narrative. This story is not about a magic trick or sheer luck, as some mistakenly believe. It's about the critical importance of proper navigation equipment in challenging environments. The misconception arises from oversimplifying complex survival situations. In reality, reliable tools are essential, not substitutes for skill or chance. This principle applies to many documented cases in remote or disorienting locations. Understanding this distinction separates factual accounts from sensationalized folklore. The pilot's survival was not due to sudden invention, but rather the application of remembered knowledge. This distinction is crucial in understanding how training and preparation function in crisis situations. Another common misunderstanding is the assumption that survival is guaranteed following an aircraft incident. Survival depends on numerous factors beyond the initial impact, including environment, injuries, and resources. This pattern is observed across various documented incidents, where applied knowledge improves odds but does not ensure safety.
The mechanism involves recalling trained procedures under stress, a cognitive process studied in aviation psychology. The forced landing was extremely dangerous, presenting immediate threats from impact forces and structural failure. Subsequent trekking through wilderness introduced severe risks from prolonged exposure to harsh environmental conditions. Terrain hazards included unstable ground, steep inclines, and natural obstacles that could cause serious injury.
This event underscores several non-negotiable principles of extreme survival in remote environments. Redundant systems matter significantly when electronic navigation and communication devices fail.
It highlights the critical value of analog, non-electronic backups for navigation and survival signaling.
Multiple backup systems provide essential safety margins when primary equipment becomes compromised. This approach applies broadly to wilderness emergencies, where technology cannot be relied upon exclusively. In our digital age, reliance on complex systems has become nearly universal.
Yet, the most critical system in one emergency was a simple analog watch.
This highlights a fundamental principle. Knowledge is the ultimate tool.
The pilot's most vital gear wasn't in the plane or on his wrist. It was the training in his mind. Procedures learned in theory become essential for survival during a crisis.
This demonstrates the enduring value of analog skills and deep understanding over mere digital dependency. This decision flow demonstrates a trained survival mindset in action. The pilot's first priority was maintaining aircraft control, a fundamental aviation principle. Next came attempts at communication. Following standard emergency protocols, basic navigation was implemented using available instruments and training. Preparation for crash landing involved securing the aircraft and passengers. The final phase was executing post-crash survival procedures. This structured hierarchy prevented panic and maximized survival chances. For remote area travelers, the lesson remains. Technology can and does fail. Training and mental preparation become the critical backup systems. This documented case demonstrates how preparation can create opportunity, even in extreme circumstances. The primary navigation system should be your own understanding of basic techniques, practiced beforehand. Physical backup should always be within reach, following the redundancy principle common in survival protocols. This approach mirrors standard emergency preparedness, where layered systems increase reliability. The story isn't about miraculous escape, but documented preparation meeting dire circumstances. Such cases show how methodical planning functions when environmental conditions become challenging. This contrasts with unprepared scenarios, where individuals rely on chance rather than systematic approaches. The emphasis remains on verifiable preparation methods rather than extraordinary events.